Lovely, thank you very much. Good afternoon, Brendan.
Hi Ben, afternoon.
The international break can be a nervous time for managers as you wait for players to come back and hopefully don't get any fresh injuries. I mean, how is the health of the squad at the moment in terms of condition, and are there any fresh concerns?
No, I think most of the guys have come back all okay. We obviously had the issue with Yuri before he left, so that puts him out for a few weeks. But yeah, apart from that, the players have trained well, worked well since they've come back, and yeah, we fit and healthy otherwise.
Wesley Fofana's not been fit to play for you yet this season. Some talk, certainly from France today, that perhaps Chelsea might be making the initial stages to an approach. Are you aware of any interest or any approaches for Wesley?
No, not at all.
And just one on your own future as well, if I may, because I know you were very quick to play down the league with Newcastle, but since we last spoke to you, there's been a lot of noise, particularly around Manchester United and that link. I mean, is there anything you can say to us about that? Is it one of the cases where, I don't know, some jobs are too big to turn down or anything like that? Or what's the situation?
Well, there's two things. Firstly, it's really disrespectful for you to ask the question when you have a manager in place, a good manager and a good man who's working at the club. And secondly, I can't really comment on it because it's something that's not real. I'm here as the Leicester City manager, proud to be here, privileged to be here, and fully committed to the players, the club, the ownership. And that's about it, really. All the other noise around that is something that we can't control.
Does it frustrate you, that noise, the headlines?
It doesn't me personally, no, because my focus, like I've done in my career, is always looking for the next game. So the only club I'm thinking about is Chelsea and getting ready for that. It's obviously frustrating, I would say, for supporters and also my players. You know, if anyone is to read anything that maybe has been out there, then of course that can destabilise. But it's something that, certainly from a personal perspective, it's something that's in the modern game, and even much more so now. You know, lots of speculation, lots of gossip, but it's all a part of the game. But it's something that I've got no focus on whatsoever.
If I can just finish by asking you about Johnny Evans, once again, in imperious form for Northern Ireland. On his day, is he one of the best central defenders in the Premier League?
Yeah, I reaffirm that because I've said it from when I first came in here. I think he's one of the best centre-halves in European football. We're very fortunate to have him, and you see his leadership qualities in the game the other night. Just the calmness he brings, the authority he brings to any team that he plays in, and so yeah, he's a top class player who's at the peak of his game, and when he's fit and healthy, he's one of the best centre halves in Europe.
Thanks for your time, Brendan.
Thanks, Ben. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Anita for PLP, please.
Afternoon, Brendan.
Hiya, Anita. Afternoon.
I hope you're well.
Very well.
I just wanted to get clarification, please, on the team news. You mentioned Yuri there. With Mark Warburton and James Justin, are they fit and in contention for this weekend?
Yeah, Mark's been back training, so that's really good news. He's looked really, really good in training, but he's probably just a little too early for him. We probably want to get him some minutes with the under-23 team, so we've got that plan in place for that. So, but he's looking so good in training, and he's obviously physically very, he's physically very strong. He's a natural athlete, but he's worked ever so hard during his rehabilitation. So we are seeing the rewards of that. We see him in training, and he's been absolutely first class. But we just got to make sure with him, still a lot of the season to go, and we just want to make sure he's fit and ready before he goes into some game time.
I wanted to ask how the international break's been for you, and has it been much of a reset, I guess, because obviously you had somewhat of an unsettled start to the season with so many key injuries, and now it seems that you're slowly getting more players back to fitness.
Yeah. I think at this point of the season now, the season really starts because you now got a flow of games over the next numbers of months. Lots of games, so the period's relentless. But yeah, I think that for this opening 3 months of the season, that you always are, no matter if you've won the game before the break or lost the game, you're always looking to reflect, reset again, and thankfully now we have this run of games over this next few months that allows you to get that rhythm, and obviously it's going to test every squad, and none more so than ourselves. So it's a relentless period, but you have to be relentless in your mentality, and that's what I'm looking forward to, seeing that over this next period of time.
And that relentless period, of course, starts on Saturday against Chelsea. A side that you beat twice out of the 3 times you met them across all competitions last season. Chelsea go into this game having drawn against Burnley just before the break. I just wonder, what kind of challenge are you expecting this time round?
Well, it's a big challenge because they're a fantastic team. I think Thomas has gone in and he's got them really organised and working well, and that culminated in obviously them becoming European champions, and they've started this season very well. So they've got an outstanding manager. They've got an incredible squad of players that now have the confidence of winning a big title, and they've got real talents there where they can bring players out and bring more players in, and it doesn't make any difference that the level is really high, both technically and from a tactical perspective. So like you say, for us, every time we played them of recent, it's been a big challenge. The FA Cup was a special day for us, but likewise we had to work, and like when you play some of the big teams, you need to be at the top of your game. You need to play well. You need to be relentless in your work, and also you need a little bit of luck along the way as well. So, but we're looking forward to the challenge of it, and as I said, a fantastic team, and we'll be ready for it.
And finally, from me, I know you mentioned a moment ago that your immediate focus is the game in hand, but how big a week does this feel for Leicester's season? You look at the Premier League table, you're 7 points from before. I imagine you don't want that gap to get any bigger, and then you've got that huge game midweek to try and remain in European competition, or European football rather.
Yeah, well, they're all big games, and the focus purely on the next one. It's interesting, you're talking about the top 4, and for a club like ourselves to be challenging shows really the strides that this squad of players have made. So for us, our target always at the beginning of the seasons has been, can we arrive into European football? And that's where we'd want to be. And like I said, there's still a long way to go. Obviously, really important games coming up over these next numbers of months. But my focus really is on the next game, and that's our focus only.
Well, all the best on Saturday, Brendan.
Thanks, Anita. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. To Jason Bourne for TalkSport, please.
Thanks, Anthony. Good afternoon, Brentford. Brentford on the lines. A couple of maybe uncomfortable questions, Brendan. I mean, obviously you've already addressed some of the Manchester United links there. I know you're clearly annoyed about the speculation, but a couple of other things as well. Kasper Schmeichel has said in an interview recently that he will potentially look to leave before he retires. Whereas the Fofana also not particularly playing down balls, also going elsewhere in an interview he did, I think, last night. What do you say to nervous or anxious Leicester fans about what they may be reading and hearing about that aren't particularly pleasant, including yourself?
No, listen, I think it's speculation and gossip, Jason, is natural in the modern game, and I think supporters and people in general will have seen that increase over these numbers of years. It is the frustrating element of the game nowadays, that there's so many stories linked. But the players you're talking about, Kasper, and he's been such a great servant for the club. He's absolutely been first class since I've come into here. But over that 10-11 year period, he's been sensational for the club. So I've got no worries about Kasper's mentality and commitment. I haven't seen any of the interviews, so I can't really comment on that. But certainly for both boys, like Wesley as well, you see how comfortable he is in the environment. You see the strides that he's made in a short period of time. And of course, listen, every player will have ambitions to be at the very highest level, of course, and want to do that. And but that doesn't mean that they're always thinking about leaving here to do that. You know, this is a club that is ambitious. The two players are very committed to doing that, and we are a group that have won some silverware, and we want to see if we can win some more. So, but both those players, they're first class. You know, Wesley's training so well. He's committed to here, and we can't wait to have him back. And like I say, with Casper, you know Casper's story. You know his commitment to here. But there's nothing wrong with having that ambition to be and play at the very highest level.
What about your personal ambitions remaining at Leicester City as well? How do you feel about that continuing task and project at the football club? Again, you talk about wanting to get back into Europe again this season. As we know, there have been one or two bumps in the road already this campaign.
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. Like I said, we've not been as consistent as what we have been, but I feel now that we can really focus in and have a period of time now where we can really get to work. Like you say, but we're not too far off European football now. It's still very early in the season, and my own commitment. I've said it a number of times here. Anytime there's a link, I've got a huge respect here for Kuntop and the protection of his father's legacy and what he brings. And my relationship with him, Susan Whelan, John Rudkin, and all the other staff here, we're very much together and looking to push the club on. And for me, I feel I'm in the right place at the right time, in the right environment, and with the right people. And when you have that feeling every day, and you have that ambition to maximise what you can from the club, then that gives me a joy and a happiness to be here. And also, I work with a calibre of players that we're trying to rinse everything out of, and maximise their potential. So all of that combined, I'm very, very happy here.
Johnny Evans was widely praised for his performance for Northern Ireland this week. I think he's got a few million Swiss people that now adore him. We now see him putting in that consistency of performance on a regular basis alongside overrunning games, those appearances he's getting now.
Yeah, he's a huge player for us, and we've always said it. He brings that authority to the game, the organisational skills, the calmness, and he's a winner. So having him available is absolutely massive for us. And it's no surprise to me. I've known him a long time. I've seen him. I've always said from when I came into here, the level that he's at. To see him play for our country and play the way he did was amazing. And it's great to have him back fit. And like you say, hopefully he's now at the stage of his career where it's about playing, recovering, and that's what we'll look to do, manage that recovery time, and hopefully he gets a bit of luck with injury.
Just one on Ben Shaw. I'm sure you hope he has a bit of a stinker on Saturday. How do you view his performances over the last few weeks? Doing something that pushing him pretty well. He's been playing well and adding goals to his games of late.
Yeah, he's a very talented player, Ben, and he was a great boy to work with when he was here. I think he's coming through the academy here and everything that he gave, and then obviously he's then moved on, and it always takes that little bit of time when you're going in. I said that to him before he left. When you go to, he's getting into that level and that expectation. That always takes a bit of time to adapt and adjust. But there's no doubt in his talent. And if you add a mentality to that, then of course he's a really, really good player. And like you say, he's playing in a more advanced position as a wing back, so it allows him to get in there. He's got good legs, good energy, so he can arrive in the box. And he's got a fantastic left foot. So hopefully we don't see that at the weekend. But I always wish him well. He was great for me when I was here, and obviously the club done well as well when he moved on.
Final one from me, just away from this game slightly. Again, I know it's different because you managed in the Premier League before going to Scotland, but any advice for Steven Gerrard as he embarks on his Premier League management journey from one of the big giants in Glasgow like yourself?
Yeah, I think obviously Stephen has felt the time to move on. It's always a wrench when you leave, and I can only talk from my own experience. And leaving Celtic, I'd felt that we'd done absolutely everything we possibly could there, and in terms of winning trophies and breaking records and stabilising the structure on and off the pitch. And then you look then for the next challenge. So for him, he's obviously felt that. He's coming down to the Premier League, where it's the most competitive league in the world. It's a league he knows very, very well as a player. He now enters it as a manager, and he comes into another fantastic club that will have ambitions to be up and chasing European football. So he's felt it's the right time, the right challenge, and I'm sure he'll do really well.
Cheers, Brandon. All the best.
Thanks, Jason. Thank you.
Okay, we'll finish the broadcast section with Owen Palmer-Atkin for BBC Radio Leicester, please.
Hi, Brendan. Hope you're okay.
Hi, on.
On your retirement, I know you said a few weeks. Is that this side of Christmas that we'll see him back in action, or is it maybe a little longer than that?
No, he'll be back before Christmas, yeah.
Good. And on a couple of other injuries, I know you mentioned James Justin already, and that he's being involved in maybe youth games now. But what about Wesley Fofana? Because he's very active on social media, and seemingly, as you said as well, is coming along really well. How far away is he from being back maybe on the training pitch with the rest of the squad and being maybe involved in a Premier League game?
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact date yet, but certainly I was just watching him there out the window. He was doing that. His rehab out on the field, and he was moving really well with our medical and sports science team. So he's building up his fitness. He's building up the contact with the ball. So yeah, it's just that progression for him. But it's great news. He's way ahead of where we thought he'd maybe be. He's absolutely devoted everything into his rehabilitation. And initially we were thinking, obviously, early part of the new year in January. So it still might be that. He's still got a way to go. But he's doing very, very well, and JJ's one, like I said, in training. He looks like he's never been away. But we just have to be careful with injuries had. As I said, the plan will be to get him into 45 minutes of maybe an under-23 game soon, and just manage it from there. But he's gifted where he's a natural athlete, but he works tirelessly at his game. So for those two players, they're going to be huge for us, towards the end of this year, and then being there for us in the second part of the season. And we get those two players back into the squad, and then that's a massive bonus for us.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about defensively, how much will they actually strengthen the side at the moment, because they have that, and what you described as that defensive profile that you like.
Yeah, but they're both players that are very athletically strong. They defend forward. They can deny space. They're aggressive. Obviously, in JJ's position, he can get forward. You see how he does that. He's constantly running, and he's a great defender in the 1v1 situation. And Wesley, for me, will be one of the top centre-halves in the world. He's 20 years of age, but you see the impact he's made already in the Premier League, and having a player like that, of course, will really takes your team to another level. So having those two boys back will be huge for us.
Chelsea finished their last season in fourth. They're now top of the Premier League at the moment. Where have the key progressions been in their game, in their style, that has allowed them to bridge that gap a little bit to Manchester City and Liverpool?
Well, I think firstly they have an outstanding squad of players. I think the club have put together a selection of players that, whether you take one out or put one in, it's really, really at a high level. So that's firstly. They bring in Thomas, and with the experience, he's been able to go in and synchronise the team, so they're very clear in how they defend. And like most top teams, you defend with a real aggression. They have that athletic ability to go and press the game. So they're really aggressive in that side, very strong in the duel. they don't give up so much, and they don't give up so much because they have the ball a lot of the time as well. The possession game is very good, and the overall they're very, very strong. You add that the confidence of winning the Champions League, then of course that gives you even more confidence in a mentality. So all in all, Chelsea have always been a club that have been, will always be challenging for the honours. They've been able to spend really well in the summer as well. You're bringing in Lukaku, who you just see the player that's come back into the Premier League different to the one that was here before, with experience now and titles and confidence. And so so overall a real big opponent with an outstanding manager as well. So that mixed together will always give you a chance to be fighting for the biggest titles.
And final one from me, Brendan. 12 games between now and the end of 2021. You mentioned already it's a lot of games. But I wonder what the key qualities and sort of attributes are that for a player to make it a successful one and continue to perform at really high levels during such an intense next 6 weeks, really.
Well, the next period it's relentless, both in terms of games, but it has to be relentless in your mentality. That's what's key. The work will be hard, it will be tough, but the rewards can be there, and that's what you've got to do in this period. You've got to sacrifice, you've got to recover well, you've got to prepare well, and then you've got to give everything into the games when you're playing. Of course, like you say, there's so many games, and some of them are tight-knit, especially in and around that Christmas period. But it's having that relentless mentality, that focus in on the games and your preparation, because it's what you do on the training field and also how you recover off that can prepare you for the games themselves. So it's great for supporters. It'll be great for us as players and staff, and we'll look forward to at least now a consistent run, and hopefully when we get into January we come out of it in a good position and ready to kick on for the second part of the season.
Brendan, thank you very much.
Thanks, Owen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody.